Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Joshua, you know what
Cohen,
I'm doing on Saturday?
what
Apparently.
trouble are you getting into?
Well, this might actually be some serious trouble. So there's some stuff going on in Georgia. There's special elections in Georgia for the 2 Senate seats. They have to go to a runoff, and so lots and lots of people are going to Georgia. And on Friday, I will be one of them because on Saturday, allegedly, I don't have all the details yet. I don't want anyone to get too excited, but allegedly on Saturday there is going to be a walkaway rally in front of the CNN building.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't know. There have been different names thrown around. There have been that no one has decided on the names yet. The CNN sucks rally was shown on. The fake news rally was thrown around. So, but we're gonna do a rally in front of CNN and talk about how awful CNN is and how crazy they are. And I got to tell you, after going to the Million MAGA March this past weekend and CNN coming on and saying there were only 8 to 10,000 people at this rally, I've got a lot of material to work with.
You certainly do. Now, a
Mm-hmm.
question for you. At
Yeah.
one point prior to COVID, Thanksgiving was the most traveled holiday of the year. So I don't know what travel is like now, but have we gotten our plane tickets? Do we have accommodations?
Well, Walkaway takes care of all of that. I can say that I know my plane ticket is taken care of because I always buy my plane ticket. I never let anyone buy plane tickets for me because they inevitably leave my TSA pre-code out of the plane ticket, and then I have to go through regular security, and that does not make me a happy person.
No,
So
it's
I
terrible.
I have procured a plane ticket. I'm sure Walkaway will do the rest. But I mean, also, this isn't really like it's like the weekend before Thanksgiving, so it's not even like the weekend
Oh, I'm
after
sorry. I'm
Thanksgiving.
sorry. I'm getting okay. My apologies. I'm jumping ahead. I thought that this week was Thanksgiving.
No, thank God, because I don't even have a turkey or anything.
You're gonna brine your turkey? Is that what it's called?
I am going to brine my turkey. I'm going to use the same recipe I use every year for the brine. It's going to have molasses and honey and soy sauce and a metric F ton of salt, which is the only way to brine a turkey. And I was thinking about doing a video on it actually, a special Thanksgiving, how should you cook a turkey video, because my turkey, I don't want to brag, but my turkey is like the best turkey that has ever been made ever in the history of turkey.
I am absolutely certain of that. I bet you make an amazing turkey. However, I will say this, that it's not really just the turkey, it's the Thanksgiving cranberry sauce. It's
I don't like
the
cranberry sauce.
You're a terrorist. You're clearly a terrorist.
Don't like it. Nope.
How can you not like cranberry sauce? It makes
I don't like
everything
cranberry.
better.
I don't
What?
know. I don't know about that. I don't like cranberry.
So what about stuffing?
I love stuffing. I make a really good pork stuffing that my grandmother taught me how to make. And I make really good turkey gravy. And stuffing is basically a conveyor for turkey gravy at the end of the day, because turkey
Okay,
gravy is like the best thing ever.
I'll tell you. I don't care if it's white trash or not, but I love stovetop stuffing. I think stovetop stuffing is the best stuffing in the history of stuffing. Definitely.
Yeah, I actually do use stovetop stuffing as like a base, and then I add all sorts of like mise en place, and I do
Right?
the pork.
It's brilliant. And even the
Yes.
cranberry sauce, I'm sorry, but the cranberry sauce in a can, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's tops. Like, I think when people try to get fancy, just like the Swanson in a can, easy peasy, amazing.
That's what people like. They like, dumping it out of the can, and they have the lines to tell them where to cut,
Yes,
but
precisely. It makes things so much easier. Oh, I love
wow.
Thanksgiving. I love
Well,
it.
we'll have to do a special Thanksgiving episode next week. We can
Mhm.
talk about gratitude and stuff like that.
Ooh,
But
that's a really good idea.
I have another thing that I want to start the show off with. That's kind of fun. And guys, I've already seen a couple super chats come in, but I thought this was kind of a fun thing, Joshua, and I thought of you when I saw it today. So it was Mike Cernovich's birthday today, and he tweeted out, "Scorpios rule the world." And my response you can see right under it. And I want to get your professional astrologer opinion on his contention and on my contention. I said no. They just think they rule the world, Mike Cernovich. So what is it? Do Scorpios rule the world, or am I right on this one?
No, they don't rule the world. Obviously not. And I think that if he was a true Scorpio, he wouldn't announce his power like that. That's kind of dumb.
Scorpios are more devious, aren't they?
Well, they're much more in touch with their carnal impulses than the other signs, and they learn quickly that doesn't always go over well. Like they're into their carnality. They can be hyper competitive, and Freud said the main impulses is sex and death. That essentially you either want to sleep with somebody or you want to kill someone. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but in Scorpio parlance, that really is. Do you know what I mean? It rules death, it rules sex. They're very intense, and they know how to. I mean, they're very powerful people. And I think that because they don't repress their carnal impulses or their darker side, they can't. That makes them a lot more powerful than other people. But I will say this, that I do think Scorpios have a fear of failure. Like they don't always go as far as they could, in my experience.
Well, what sign would you say rules the world if you had to pick a sign?
Rules the world? I mean,
yeah, because
I think I don't think that's really possible, because every single sign has their own strengths. And yeah, I think that Capricorn is supposedly the most worldly. Like they know how to keep up with the Joneses and keep up appearances and appear a certain way so that they can gain power from their appearance. But that doesn't make them even as ambitious as some of the other signs. Like Scorpio, I think Capricorn gets the title for being the most ambitious, but I think Scorpio definitely is, because Scorpio's not afraid to die. You know what I mean? To get what they want.
Mm-hmm. Well, Hank Reardon says Virgos rule everything. And I am married to a Virgo. I have a lot of Virgos in my life. I'm not sure I would say that Virgos rule everything, especially when they happen to be married to an Aries.
Yeah. I think Virgos are, the hardest workers. Nobody can outwork a Virgo. So I think that's where they have their ace in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
They work
all
really
right. Well, there we go. Mike Cernovich is wrong, which makes me right. I'm just going to say, I may not have been totally right, but I'm still going to take the W on that one.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Welcome to Nothing Remotely Controversial. This is a show that Joshua and I do every Tuesday night at 9:30, where I banter and rant about whatever news I find interesting. And Joshua, who is a professional psychic and astrologer and tarot card expert, uses his psychic powers to peer beneath the surface and tell us what's really going on. And he just muted himself in the process of doing whatever it is he did, so he needs to unmute himself. Joshua, unmute yourself.
I did.
Oh, you're back. Okay. Thank you. And guys, this is meant to be a more fun, a more lighthearted show. So anyone that wants to chat in saying that psychicry is BS, we don't really care, man. This is not the show for you. You can come back and watch the other content any other given day.
I got fact checked on CNN.
You did. You got fact checked. Well, not on CNN. You got fact checked on YouTube, not on CNN.
But it was by CNN?
No, it was like, so YouTube is doing these stupid things where anytime someone talks about like the election or like anything else that they find controversial, they put like a fact check box around you, and you got I clipped the thing from our last show where you pulled the 5 of Swords twice, and you got fact checked by YouTube. So YouTube is now in the business of fact checking psychics.
Wow. They have a lot of time in their hands.
Congratulations, Joshua.
Any economic problems if they're having people do that. That's kind of crazy.
No, that's the stupidest thing ever. So we do have a couple of super chats that have already come in. Guys, if you have questions that you would like Joshua to psychic, please feel free to send in a super chat to get on the list. We do try to get through as many as we possibly can, but I will ask you to keep the questions more high level, worldly stuff. Like, we try not to do like personal stuff, like should I move to XYZ location or will this be successful? If you want to set up a time with Joshua to get those questions answered, he is always available to do that, but we want to keep things more general interest. And Elizabeth is going to kick us off today, and she wants to know, are we going to have national lockdowns? Which we are probably going to have something to that effect if Biden actually makes it into the Oval Office. So that could be telling about some other questions I have tonight as well.
Okay. Will you pose the question again, please?
Are we going to have national lockdowns?
And someone should stop shuffling. Death, the Lovers, and the Magician. That's interesting. National lockdowns. Well, the death card would indicate that death card is Biden. He's a Scorpio, and that's the sign that the death card rules. With the Lovers, we are talking about a choice, but with the Magician, there's going to be some ways around it. So I do think that there's some like loopholes. So I think with the Magician, it's almost like somebody tying your hands in a knot, but being able to like unravel it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think that it's going to be difficult for that to pass. There's going to be a lot of caveats, I think.
Well, excellent. That is news to my ears. And Joshua, you'll be pleased to know someone has already informed me in the chat that we already have a fact check box on this video. So we have preemptively been fact checked. It is what it is, I suppose. All right. Naruto wants to know, did you hear a California judge struck down Gavin Newsom's mail-in ballots executive order and barred any future autocratic executive orders? I did hear something about that, but I honestly didn't look that much into it. Joshua, what is going on with your governor? Do you know anything about this?
No, I can't even listen. Every time I hear his name, I get upset. So I don't even know. I'm just closing my eyes.
That's probably a good policy.
Seriously.
Well, I mean, we have some other super chats coming in, but before we get to those, I want to ask some questions about what's going on in the election. I want to do some of this stuff because here's the thing. Like, I am so sick of being in this election freaking limbo. I'm so over it. I just want there to be a decision already. And I feel like we don't really have much more information this week about what's actually going on than we did last week. And so last week, what we found, you keep pulling that. If you pull the Five of Swords again tonight, I swear to God, like you are not. You might as well just you need to remove the Five of Swords from the deck right now because
I
this
used
is
to
just
do that
ridiculous.
with the Old Maid when I used to play Old Maid because I didn't want anybody to lose. So I am thinking about doing that, taking it out of the deck.
Well, I mean, it's annoying at this point. You keep pulling it at every freaking time we try to answer this question, but
so much so that people think that I'm doing it like I'm being
they think you're cheating.
When I'm being
They think you marked the card like a Vegas trick dealer or something.
Yeah. Because I care so much.
Well, and that's the thing. I really want people to understand this and think Joshua might be cheating. He does not care. I've known Joshua for going on 5 years now. I can confirm Joshua does not care.
That's really my motto. I really don't care.
Yeah. Definitely does not care enough to cheat. Doesn't even care enough to make me feel better about situations sometimes. So, know. But so let's get into it. So, because last week what we found, the Five of Swords is the interference card that keeps coming up over and over again. But you did ultimately end up saying last week that you did think that Trump was going to make it to a second term. Now, some people pointed out in the chat, and this is correct, that perhaps we should have been more specific about if it would be in 2020 or 2024 that he would make it into a second term. So maybe we should just start with a couple high-level questions of what the hell is going on in the election, November 17th edition.
Okay. So what is going on with the election? Is that correct?
What is going on in the election?
Question?
Yes.
Okay, and will you pose it again for me?
What is going on in the election?
And tell me when I should stop shuffling.
Stop.
The Hermit, Princess of Discs, and Happiness. Interesting. So the Hermit card is a closing of a cycle. So things are in the process of really closing up. We're in the transition of just changes that are taking place here with the Hermit card. There's also the Princess of Discs here, which is very much about being practical, taking the time to figure something out. I think that there's some stuff that's going on right now that people are actually looking at more closely, stuff that might be irrefutable or something, just to actually determine whether or not there has been trickery or anything like that going on. I think that, I was just looking at Twitter, and there's so many people that name themselves, kiddingly, like President-elect Karlin Borisenko, or, you know what I mean? So I think
We are
that
all president-elect now, Joshua.
I know. So I think that with the Princess of Discs, they're being very, very practical, and then happiness comes up. So I don't know if this is happiness for you or you're going to get your wish, but right now, it does. There's happiness for someone. Somebody's going to get their wish, and this card is the cat who ate the canary card. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what we get when we drill down, because I don't know what cat would be the canary more than Donald Trump. But we'll take that question when we get to it.
Yeah, I have another question I want to ask before we get to the big question of who will be our president in 2021. I want to know, does Donald Trump, do they have something big? Because my perception of the situation is that they've got something. I do think that they have something. Rudy Giuliani keeps teasing this out. Sidney Powell keeps teasing this out. But at the same time, it's also like they've been doing so much teasing that I'm just like, you guys need to tell us what you flipping have, because either you're BSing or you just need to show your damn cards. And so can we psychic if they like what they have, what information they have? What is the best way to ask this question?
Because they're teasing information that they have. They're saying that we have this. Okay.
They're saying we have big mind-boggling information. You're not going to believe it. It's earth-shattering.
Well, let's just see how this information will go over with the Supreme Court, because that's really who matters, right?
Yes.
Or no?
Let's do that. Well,
okay.
I mean, maybe it may not. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's the best question to ask.
Okay. What do you think might be better?
I want to know if they actually have something or if they're fronting like they have something.
Got it. Okay. So do me a favor and just phrase it that way.
Does Trump's legal team actually have something, or are they just fronting like they have something?
And tell me I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
High Priestess, Ace of Wands, the Tower. Yes, they do. And it is big.
Wow, the Tower card. Someone mentioned the Tower card today on Twitter with regards to this. The Tower card is like death and destruction and something big.
The High Priestess. So the secrets will be revealed. And Ace of Wands, like, yeah, he probably can't contain himself over this. And
Trump was being very quiet today, and I was like, what is going on?
Well, probably somebody shut him up and be like, okay, we want this to be big. You don't want to, because as soon as, unless they have like enough proof, they're going to like dismantle it and shut it down. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think he should be the one that really comes forth with it. It needs to be somebody else. Ideally, it would be somebody else who is somewhat impartial. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what they have. And now let's ask the big question, Joshua, which is how should we phrase this? Will Trump be inaugurated in January 21? Is that a good one?
Yes.
Oh, I just got nervous. The anticipation is you pull that fucking Five of Swords again, Joshua. I'm going to reach through this goddamn screen. I swear.
You know I might, because you know my little tricks.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
See, now if you actually do pull the Five of Swords, people are going to think you're cheating for like all time. They're going to be like, he admitted it.
He admitted it. Yeah. All right. Here's the question for me.
Will Trump be inaugurated in January 21?
Oh, hold on one second.
Uh-oh.
All right. Sorry.
From
the top. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Will Trump be inaugurated in January 21?
And tell me I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Fascinating. Queen of Wands comes up. I don't know what fiery woman this is. I mean, it could be what's her face. She does have an Aries moon, by the way. What's her name?
Kamala.
That's her. Yeah, could be her. Queen of Wands comes up, so that's really interesting. This is about inner confidence, and then you have the Tower card.
Wow.
And then you have the Science card, which is about transition. So I don't know what to make with the Queen of Wands here. It'd be interesting if your tarot aficionados on the show that are watching, if they had any insight as to what the Queen of Wands could be here, who the Queen of Wands could be. But I think with the Tower card would just describe breakthrough. And obviously destruction. So I don't even know if there would be yeah. Is
it possible that this legal battle keeps going on and there's not actually an inauguration in January?
Well, I know with the Tower card, things certainly won't be boring. It's not going to be it's not going to be an easy transition. Like you're going to have a Tower event before we have the transition. So if it's a transition of power, for instance, if he's going to be inaugurated again, there's definitely going to be a lot of stuff beforehand. Who is the Queen of Wands in this?
People in the chat are saying Sidney Powell is the Queen of Wands. She's Trump's lawyer.
Is she an Aries or fire sign? Leo, Sagittarius?
Guys, can someone figure out what Sidney Powell's birthday is, please? Joshua, can we ask like a clarifying question to get a more definitive answer? Can we maybe we should change the question from inaugurated in January to will Trump remain in office?
Yeah. For the next.
Is that good?
I like that too. Yeah, go for it.
Will Trump remain in office?
And someone, I should stop shuffling.
Stop.
Well, there's disappointment.
No. Boom.
Yeah. Then you have the Emperor. And then you have Two of Swords. So I don't think he's going to concede. I think that if he decides, I don't know. I know that there's going to be, this hasn't been decided yet. You got to remember, again, there's no such thing as a psychic prediction. We can determine where the energy is headed. Right now, it's headed toward disappointment, but it's headed also with the Emperor in terms of him holding on to his ground. And with the Two of Swords.
It's like a choice between the two? Is that what it is?
Sorry?
I mean, it's like Two of Swords is like a choice between two things, right?
It's being at an impasse. It's like two people with their guns drawn.
Oh, I see.
Right? And it's like
a duel. You
know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's almost like you don't shoot and the other person doesn't shoot, but you're at an impasse, So remember, there's no such thing as a psychic prediction. We can tell where the energy is headed. Right now, we know that there's going to be disappointment, meaning this could be a matter of there being issues in terms of rioting and stuff like that. With the Emperor, there's going to be some kind of disappointment. I don't know if it's necessarily rioting. It could be on anybody's side, but with the Emperor is him because he's the one in power right now. With the Two of Swords, there's going to be I don't know. I don't even know if anybody's going to get inaugurated in January. Honestly, it seems like it's so it's a lot.
This is bizarre.
Yeah.
This is the most bizarre election ever. Well, someone's got to win at some point because the amount of gray hair that is coming in on my head is it's too much. And I can't take this anymore.
Carlin, though, somebody needs to get inaugurated in January. So that would be impossible, right? Or
who the hell knows? I don't even know anymore. I would think. But it's going to be, I mean, someone, Amber Raven said this in the chat, like it's going to be a disappointment no matter what. No matter what happens, half the country is going to be disappointed and half the country is not going to accept whoever the president is,
Maybe we can see where things are headed in terms of how Trump supporters are going to feel.
Oh, hang on. Hank made a good point in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Hank says if it goes to a congressional decision, it can take until March 4th.
Oh. Thank you, Hank. You're so smart.
Hank is the best.
He's great. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah. He's not going to give up. And nor should he.
Well, do you want to were you just asking, can we do, how will Trump supporters feel? Is that what you want?
Yeah, let's see how Trump supporters will feel. What is it? When's the inauguration supposed to be?
January.
January what? 21st, 22nd?
21st, I think.
Okay. Let's see how Trump supporters are going to feel January 22nd.
How will Trump supporters feel on January 22nd?
And tell me I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Ace of Wands, the Emperor, and Love.
I like that.
Me too. With the Ace of Wands, I think that this is just courage and boldness. So they're going to feel, I think that, what Hank said is probably on point. Like, it's not going to be decided.
You say that.
Sorry?
It's so interesting you say that. Hang on, keep going. I'm going to pull up something Trump tweeted just not too long ago. Keep going though.
I think what Hank said is probably really on point, that if it goes to the congressional committee, it probably will last for a while. But Trump supporters on January 2nd, according to this, they're going to feel like there's a new identity. They're going to feel very, very strong and empowered. This is like, a refreshed sense of vigor and energy. Then we have the Emperor card. They're going to feel in control and in charge. So he will probably remain in power. And then Love, I mean...
Love conquers all.
It does. And I do think that, I think that there's a lot of love for Trump and from Trump.
Well, it's interesting that you use the word courage, because right before we came on tonight, I saw this tweet from Trump. Michigan today, Wayne County, Michigan refused to certify the results, which really actually does bode in Trump's favor. And he tweeted this out. He said, "Wow, Michigan just refused to certify the election results. Having courage is a beautiful thing. The USA stands proud."
Wow. Yeah. That's great. And I think that the courage is really key. But yeah, I think that we just have to realize that, this is just a crazy thing, and that a lot of people are, I don't know, people are going to be very upset either way. So it'll be very interesting. But Trump supporters seem to be sitting pretty on January 22nd, the day after the supposed inauguration.
Well, I will take what I can get for right now. Well, folks, we're going to get to some of our super chats because you've already sent a bunch in, and I want to make sure we get through as many as possible. But if you're enjoying this, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We do this every Tuesday night. I do daily content throughout the week about news, politics, culture, all sorts of stuff. And of course, if Adam were here, he would tell you to smash that like button. So we have to represent Adam. Now, there are like 600 of you watching. I only see 160 likes, guys. So come on. We're working hard over here. Joshua is psyching hard. So smash that like button, please, to let YouTube know that, not to shadow ban my account and stuff like that. All right. So I'm just going to go through the super chats. We have one from Jen, who we both know.
Is that the Jen I know and like?
It is the Jen you know and like. It's the Jen I know and like as well. And Jen says, Joshua is not wrong about stovetop stuffing.
Yeah! Let's have stovetop. But you got to have cranberry sauce with the stovetop. And ideally, it's like Swanson's from a can. Can we agree on that too, Jen? I really would appreciate it.
Of course. Okay, I'll keep an eye out in chat for her answer. But Jen wants to know, is Sidney Powell going to prove the Dominion voting machines have been manipulated for a Biden win?
Okay. Will you repeat the question a little more slowly?
Yes. Is Sidney Powell going to prove the Dominion voting machines have been manipulated for a Biden win?
Can we say, will it be proven? Or do we need to specify Sydney?
Let's go with will it be proven? Okay.
Sorry,
Will
one
it
more
be?
time.
That's okay. Will it be proven that the Dominion voting machines have been manipulated for a Biden win?
And I'm going to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Virtue, Ace of Swords, Queen of Discs. Virtue, Ace of Swords. Well, there's definitely, the Virtue card, obviously people are trying to find out the facts. But the Ace of Swords, this is about a call to truth. And the Queen of Discs, it would seem as if, there's definitely going to find out the truth. I'm just trying to determine what the truth actually is. I'm wondering how we can phrase this again for a little bit more clarity. More clarity on that, on the, just say that for me. More clarity on the Dominion voting machines. What's going to happen with that?
More clarity on the Dominion voting machines. What's going to happen with that?
And tell me when I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Okay. Will it be proven, right? Prince of Wands, wealth, victory. It's looking that way. It's looking that way, but I feel I think that it is looking that way with the wealth card in terms of victory. Yeah. It's interesting. But it's looking good.
All right, well, that's good. Well, Matthew super chatted in that Wayne County refused to certify the results, but I saw other people in the chat saying that about 20 minutes ago, they did certify the results. So I guess that particular battle is lost for right now. Ian Miles Chung, I'll actually just share this so people can see it, said they doxed them into submission. So I'll have to look more at that and figure out what's going on there. That's too bad that they didn't hold strong to that, but what can you do? Trump doesn't need to win Michigan. He needs to get some other stuff, though.
But what my question to you is this, is when they do that, because again, there's so many people that are involved in this. So with Michigan's issue, is there any way for Trump to be like, I don't believe you, try again? Do you know what I mean?
Of course, he can take it to court, I would think.
Yeah. Because obviously if there were issues with the Dominion voting, then obviously when it comes to proving that there are issues, they're going to do everything in their power to conceal that.
Yeah. Well, do you want to psychic this? Is there something we can psychic around this question?
I think it's looking good, but I get it. I still get there being a back and forth. So I think that maybe it's a matter of some states are going to prove there's been meddling, and then other states no, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? It's like a balance, but I think it's a victory. I think it's a victory in terms of there's going to be at least one big victory there. Yeah. With the Dominion.
Okay.
Stuff. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Christy says it's already in court in Michigan, so we'll just have to see what happens there. Now, the person with the colons as their screen name, I did see you super chatted in. I also saw you chat in that you didn't get to ask a question, so I'm going to keep an eye on the chat, and if you have a question you want to ask, just make sure you chat it in, and I will do my best to get it in. Jacob Hill says, I was recently diagnosed with bipolar. You guys help me during days off. Anyway, I want to study astrology. My birth chart is daunting. Any tips? Joshua, do you have any tips for a new astrology student?
Yes. Well, have your chart read. Either there's so many resources online that we can all do it ourselves, but of course, if you can meet up with any astrologers or get an astrology reading, that's going to shed some light on it. Always read the reviews, just to make sure that you're dealing with somebody reputable, and you will never stop learning astrology. I've been studying astrology literally since I was as soon as I could read. Like at 7 years old, it was an obsession. And there's still plenty that I do not know. I could study until the day I die, and there would still be more to learn. So this is a lifetime love affair if you really get into it. And like I said, it's sprawling. Okay, so just enjoy it, and also just remember, as they say, a wise man follows the stars, but only a fool is ruled by them.
All right, that's good advice. Our friend here, I'm not sure exactly what's the best way to psychic this. What's the connection between Farage and Trump, like Nigel Farage in the UK, who was like the Brexit guy?
Okay, you want to just know more about their relationship? Is that the case?
Yeah, I think that seems to be the question that he has, or they, I suppose. I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman.
Farage, it sounds like an 80s musical band, doesn't it?
It does. Yes.
Farage. Okay, will you post the question to me?
What's the connection between Farage and Trump?
And tell me I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Worry, the Emperor, Princess of Discs. Well, it seems like one person feels choked by the other. So there's a sort of like a power. One person has more power over the other, or at least perceives it to be that way. So there's a little bit of friction in regard to that. With the Emperor card, this is like the who's the boss card. And then with the Princess of Discs, this is about, trying to find common ground and finding out what it is that we need to do in order to work together on a practical, successful level. But it's a little bit strained, and I think there's a little bit of a power struggle, if that's helpful.
All right, that's interesting. Malty Drider says, will dating be great again after lockdowns, or will it still be dead like it was before the pandemic? This is actually a topic we've talked about before. Like, what is dating going to be like? And this was like back in the day when we thought that this was only going to last like a couple weeks or months, not ad infinitum. What do you think, Joshua? I don't know. I'm married. I have no concept of dating or flirting or any of those things anymore.
I think that
you allegedly are single.
I think that question, it really is dependent on whether or not people want to date. I mean, coronavirus and lockdowns and whatnot, it's a perfect excuse to not date. But it also, if you think about it, the other side of that is that it brings us back to traditional values, in the sense that we might actually get to talk on the phone with people before we actually meet them. We might, spend some time getting to know someone before you actually go out to dinner and hop into bed and all that. So I think that if you want to leverage this for more dating, you'll be able to. You just need to make that decision. And I think that, on the surface, of course, it looks like dating is dead because of the quarantine and whatnot. But I think if anything, it's just going to make us more judicious, excuse me, and more discriminating in terms of who we choose to even try out. Like before, it may have been like, having to kiss a lot of frogs. Well, we won't be kissing many frogs now, right? I mean, not literally, but what I mean is we're going to be much more judicious. So maybe talking to them on the phone, being like, okay, this is somebody I actually might want to actually spend time with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. Lauren DeLunga says, I was assaulted in Boston. The videos are on my Twitter and Parler, which will match my name on YouTube. I was kicked off of United Airlines too for supporting Trump. I'm really exhausted. It sounds like you've had quite a time. But I don't know. I don't know what advice to give. Joshua, what advice would you give?
She was kicked out of Parler.
No, she was she said she was assaulted in Boston, and she was kicked off of United Airlines for supporting Trump.
Oh, okay. I would say,
and she's exhausted.
Yeah, totally. And I think the big thing is, if you're experiencing that in the outer world, it's more a matter of making sure that you're allowing yourself to maintain that sense of inner peace. Because, obviously it's terrible that, you were assaulted, and that's not that doesn't take anybody off the hook. But because at least in my experience, my belief system, we create our reality. It's more a matter of having so much inner peace that you project that to the outer world, and then you can only experience peace. Like you can only experience the vibration of that which you are. So I really just focus on how it is you might be assaulting yourself, and how it is that you might be disenfranchising yourself and shutting yourself up, because that's being reflected back to you by the world. And it sucks and it's terrible, and that doesn't take them off the hook. But you got to take responsibility for the reality that you're creating.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do, and people don't want to do it, and it pisses them off when you tell them that. And sometimes you damn well pissed me off when you told me that, but it does actually always end up being correct, which I will never admit to you when we have a one-on-one conversation.
But also when you actually say, well, I created this and it sucks for everybody. So hear me out there. But once you take responsibility, then you're able to really change things up and really be in control. Because if you don't take responsibility, then it's almost like you're a victim and you're experiencing all this stuff that's outside of your control, and that's no good, because you got to take care of you.
Oh, we have a nice little troll in the chat who says my brain has been replaced by something. He's getting blocked, isn't he? All right. So let's see. Let's keep going down these super chats. Thank you guys so much for sending them in. Cold Summer wants to know, actually, wait, is Cold Summer the next one? Yes. Cold Summer wants to know, how big will cryptocurrency get in the coming decade? Will it be something that could potentially save us? Joshua, what's a good way to phrase this question?
Well, let me ask you this. Would it be good to say, like, is cryptocurrency a good investment or a wise investment? Okay, but can we get a month? Do you know what I mean? Because I think it changes like pretty quickly, right?
Well, I think this person's looking more like long term.
Okay, so we can't say in 2021, or can we?
No, he said, or they say, how big will cryptocurrency get in the coming decade?
Oh, okay. Let's just see what we get there, and just repeat the question again, please.
How big will cryptocurrency get in the coming decade?
And tell me I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Very well. Power, Queen of Cups, Ace of Swords. I think it's good, but I think there's going to be something else. I don't think it's going to, the Power card, which is good. This is about, money through work and efficiency. It's not like it's holding on to what you have, and there's power there. So that's a good sign. Queen of Cups comes up. So Queen of Cups is watery. So, this water is not stagnant, right? It like ebbs and it flows. And with the Ace of Swords, I really think at the end of the day, it's how you manage it. I think that I don't know anything about cryptocurrency, just to let you know. But my feeling is when I'm looking at this, that there's certain aspects of cryptocurrency that are going to be better than others, or there's going to be a way to leverage it better. But do know that there is power there, but things will shift. It's a watery essence, meaning it's, it's not like money in the hand or in the bank, so.
That makes sense. All right. Charmed 3XS wants to know, will Haspel, Ray, and or Fauci be fired before year end? I'm actually most interested in Fauci, because Fauci's really starting to piss me off, because now he's saying that even if you get the vaccine, there are two vaccines right now. One has been said to work in 90% of cases. The other said to work in 95. Fauci's still saying that even if you get the vaccine, you still need to wear a mask. I've about had it with him. Can we psychic if he's going to get fired before the end of the year?
Before the end of the year? Okay, yeah, fine. Do me a favor and just pose that question.
Will Fauci get fired before the end of the year?
Oh, you cut out on me. Sorry. Will you say it again?
Oh. Will Fauci get fired before the end of the year?
And tell me I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Three of Discs, the Devil, Luxury. No way, Jose.
Boo. Boo.
End of the year? We're at Thanksgiving, Carlin. Almost.
Trump just fired someone else today, so who knows?
True enough. True enough.
All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Quantum Football wants to know: has there been anything in retrograde, or occultation all year that has made things more crazy than usual? Joshua, what is the astrological explanation for why 2020 has been insane?
I mean, there's been a lot of things. Jupiter with Pluto, that started really, at the end of last year. Jupiter expands whatever it touches, and Pluto rules viruses. So, you put them together, and that wasn't very, very good. Recently, especially with the election, we've had Mercury retrograde for quite some time. Now it's direct. It just got out of its shadow period, or will get out of its shadow period, I think, on the 19th of November. What day is today? It's like what?
17th.
17th. So really soon. That'll be good. Mars was retrograde. It is still in its shadow period and will be out of its shadow period, meaning not at its fullest speed until January 2nd. But there's definitely a lot of aspects at play. You just gotta leverage them. We always say, in terms of the situations that we talk about, that all circumstances are neutral. And there will be some astrologers that will say, oh, this aspect is terrible. But again, it's a perfect universe with just imperfect people, right? So there's a reason why we have these retrogrades. There's a reason why these planets conjunct. And there is always a way that you can leverage it to your greatest advantage. So just keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. All right. Sequitur Tenebus says Kayleigh McEnany is an Aries, and we both like Kayleigh McEnany, so that's probably why.
Oh, well, we got Queen of Wands when we spoke about something.
We did. Not Your Problem says, I don't believe in it much, but it's entertaining. So here's a tip. Just the tip. Thank you, not the problem. AJ Starkiker says, considering what's going on with challenges this year, I'm now wondering how many other elections could have been flipped if the loser was challenged. I think that's a good question, Joshua. I mean, I think like a lot of the people that I've been listening to today been basically talking about how like there's been voter fraud in every election. And it's been like this open secret. Everyone's known it. And I mean, who's even to say if the alleged voter fraud that they might be experiencing now is any different than what normally happens?
Yeah, I think that we're very naive to think that we determine who becomes president. I mean, sorry, but
it's a little bit of a cynical way to view the world.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't have that much trust in the system. It's unfortunate, but I just don't. I don't think that they would. I don't have trust in that system. I think that Trump is the only one who's making a big, deal about it. There's definitely levels, is my feeling. You know what I mean? There's definitely levels of, like we spoke about before. There's what's going on in front of us on this stage, but there's also stuff going on in the back end of things that, we have no way of knowing what's going on, but there's another drama always at play.
Mm-hmm. Max Space has a really interesting question. He wants to know, how will the mainstream media react to what's coming?
Ooh,
that's a good question. That's
gives us a very good question. Who's that smart young man?
That's Max Space, and he has an icon that's a dog, which makes him even better, in my opinion.
And mine too. Dogs are great. Will you rephrase the question for me, Carlin?
Yes. How will the mainstream media react to what's coming?
Can we get a date next week, tomorrow, a month?
Can we say with the outcome of the election? That's what he's asking.
Oh,
I think that's what he's asking. I mean, I don't know.
How will the media react to the outcome of the election? Like eventually, when we get a decision here, is that what we mean?
Yes.
Okay. Phrase it again.
How will the media hang on, pause. How will the media react to the outcome of the election?
I mean, there's so much media, though. This is like this.
How will the mainstream media? Sorry, that was my bad.
Let's get even more specific. Because
how will
Yes.
Fox sucks now, okay? And I say that knowing full well I was on Fox yesterday, and I really want them to invite me back, but come on.
Let's
Okay,
say
how will
CNN.
CNN, how will Jake Tapper on CNN react to the outcome of the election?
And say his name again?
Jake Tapper.
On CNN. And tell me when I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Okay. Death, debauch, love. Interesting.
No! I don't like that. I like the first two. I don't like the love card. We want Jake Tapper to suffer. He deserves it.
Well, the death card, I think they'll definitely take a side here. And I think with the debauch card, they're going to be given to temptation. So that's the thing. Like the Seven of Cups is almost like, it's like, that you shouldn't have that third cookie, but you're like, you know what? I'm going to have it. I'm just going to have it. So it can't hurt me anymore. Do you know what I mean? And then with the love card, yeah, it's interesting. I think they're going to do what they can, or he's going to do what he can to take care of his viewership, right? His primary viewership. So yeah, but there will be temptation.
Well, we'll see. Chief A says, thank you guys for combining two of my favorite interests into one show. I feel the same way. I like these two things together, even though everyone calls me crazy every time Tuesday comes around. And they're like, you believe in psychics? And I'm like, yes, I do. Melissa Swancutt says Sidney Powell is a Taurus. People were also saying Sidney Powell is a redhead in the chat, but I don't think that she's the queen of what was it?
Queen of Wands.
Of Wands. I don't think it's her.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, it might be a decision maker or somebody who's making a decision. Amy Barrett, she's an Aquarius. She's not at all a fire sign, or
no.
It would be interesting to actually see her chart. But if she's a fire sign, she's got some mad self-control.
Yeah. Hank Reardon says, Positively Simple wants to know if the electors will pick the president. So can we psychic that, Joshua? If the electors will pick the president?
Yes. And say it again.
Will the electors pick the president?
And tell me when I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Very well. Will the electors pick the president? Knight of Discs, death, worry. It's interesting. I think that there might be some strain before that. The electors, when we're talking the electors, we're talking...
Like, so the states specify who the electors are that ultimately pick the president.
Yeah, there's going to be like some issues before that. With the Five of Discs, I don't know. I don't know if that would go to them. It just seems to be trying. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of nonsense before then.
Okay. People in the chat are wondering if Nancy Pelosi is the Queen of Wands.
She's an Aries, yeah.
It could be. Marcia Levin says, I cook my own cranberry sauce. 1 cup water, 1 cup sugar, 1 teaspoon lemon juice, boil, 1 fresh bag cranberries, 1/4 teaspoon salt, cook till all burst, then cool. So Joshua, now you can cook your own cranberry sauce as well instead of getting it out of the can.
No, I'm having hers.
No.
You can mail it to me in an envelope.
Okay, we got 2 more super chats, and then we have something we want to talk about Candace Owens to wrap up the show. Oh, 3 more super chats technically. D Show says, Canadian here, hoping and praying Trump wins. Why care so much as a Canadian? Because I look to the US as the last hope, last refuge for people of God, common sense, place where I could move to have a promising free future. Generally, I agree with that, and I'm crossing my fingers as well. Eldon Taylor says, seek the truth, John 14:6. Joshua, I don't know what that means, but you went to Catholic school. You might know John 14:6 better than I do.
Seek the truth? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It says seek the truth, John 14:6. I don't know.
I don't
Okay.
know it offhand, yeah, but
And then Charmed 3 XS has another one. Is the Great Reset happening? Will they be successful? So have you heard about this Great Reset business? So essentially, so a lot of people, it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a conspiracy theory because then YouTube is gonna like be like demonetized. But here's the idea: it's like that the world leaders are using COVID and the lockdowns as a way to reset, and it's kind of like it's a mass like conspiracy, I suppose, to reform the world in their vision or something, like a socialism reset or whatever. And the reason that this picked up speed this week is because Justin Trudeau and then the mayor of Chicago flat out said something about it. It was like they said the quiet part out loud. So in a very non-advancing a conspiracy theory way, YouTube, because I don't think I actually believe this is a thing. Joshua, can we psychic if the Great Reset is happening?
so how can we phrase this in a better way? So like you want to know whether or not they're doing all this COVID lockdown stuff for a reason, for this Great Reset.
No, if they're using the lockdowns for their Great Reset.
Okay, and what is the Great Reset supposed to be though?
It's like about globalization and like New World Order like stuff, I think.
Okay, so do me a favor and pose that question again.
Are they using the lockdowns for the Great Reset?
And tell me I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Very well, let's see. 8 of Cups, worry, completion. There are no card. Yeah, no, I don't. I think that they might utilize it as an opportunity. But there's nothing here that's saying like they're shutting things down specifically for that purpose. There is this moving on, and things are really trying right now, and there is a need for a reset, but they're not anywhere near there yet. I think that what's happening right now with 8 of Cups is there is this moving on from certain things. And there is a terrible struggle currently, but I do think that with the completion card that there will be reprieve, if that makes any sense.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
All right, and we just got one last super chat in. Queen of Spades, rather. I love these lives. Thank you both so much. We like doing them too, don't we, Joshua?
We certainly do.
They're fun. All right, to wrap things up, we have one last topic we want to talk about, and this is one of those instances where Joshua and I might be in a rare instance of absolute and total agreement in a way that might piss you guys off, so why not just go out with a bang?
Yes.
So we want to talk about Candace Owens. Because Candace Owens this week went on this tear about bringing back manly men and men in dresses. It started when Harry Styles was on the cover of Vogue or something wearing a dress, and she sent out a metric F ton of tweets, basically like going after toxic masculinity, which I actually think is a fair point. I do not like the term toxic masculinity. I think that men should not feel ashamed for liking guy things. Like that's just like not a big deal. But then she just kept going. So she posted this one: mining pictures on the internet of men in dresses is not going to suddenly make me attracted to men in dresses, and wait until I find out that I also think I think women should be feminine, and I enjoy cooking and taking care of my husband. And then she responded to Elijah Wood, who poked his nose into it and probably regretted that decision, and then tweeted out this one of like Bill Clinton wearing it, retweeting Trump Jr. And then says, newsflash, woke idiots, when you send me pictures of Freddie Mercury and Kurt Cobain dressed as women to prove your point, you are actually proving mine. Stable men do not wear ball gowns, the end. So here's the issue that I have with this. I don't in general, I don't really care what if you want to wear a dress, but it was just like, it was the amount of aggression that she dedicated towards this. I was like, this is like too much. Like, what is don't you are protesting too much. Now I want to acknowledge that Candace Owens is pregnant, and in in my coaching experience with organizations, I always left leeway for pregnancy brain, because pregnant women do crazy things. They just do. They are not always in their right mind. There's a lot of hormones, but it was way too much for me. And it was just like, it was such an absurd reaction to something that's just like, not a big deal. Dude wore a dress on the cover of a magazine. Is it my particular cup of tea? No, but it's his choice. And if he wants to make that choice, whatever. What do you think?
Well, I think that it's interesting from an astrological standpoint, because Candace Owens is a Taurus and they are very traditional. I was speaking to you before about how I know a Taurus and she doesn't think that men should drink white wine, which I think is ridiculous.
Or rosé.
Or rosé would be, horrible.
Yeah, that'd be like, yeah.
But again, like, that's part of their charm, is the fact that they do have traditional values, and men should be men and women should be women. And but what's interesting with Candace Owens is that she has an Aquarius moon, it looks like, although we don't know her time of birth. And Harry Styles is an Aquarius. So they're very rebellious, and in a million years, somebody with strong Aquarius who's all about freedom and quirkiness and eccentricity would never in a million years call out somebody for expressing themselves fully. And Candace having her moon in Aquarius, it didn't ring true, in the sense that it just doesn't seem. I just wondered if she really feels that way, or if she's just sending out those tweets to become a little bit more connected to the Bible Belt or ultra conservative people. Because I think in this day and age, I think that I don't see what the issue is. If Harry Styles wants to wear a dress, I don't see that being an issue. And I think it's more dangerous for men as well as women to suppress their female or masculine sides. I mean, Candace Owens wears pants all the time. She wears suits. Nobody's up her ass saying that she's dressing like a man. And in terms of her disposition, she's incredibly masculine. There's nothing feminine about her. So typically the things that we don't like in other people, we usually hate in ourselves. So I think that might be where it's coming from.
Well, I mean, and people in the chat are saying, Sasha, the book lover, says Candace Owens has strong opinions. She's much more conservative than me. To be frank, that's not actually an argument in this case, because conservatives are much more inclined towards freedom, individual liberties, making your own decisions, like not having anyone else force their views on you or telling you how to live your life. And so I'm going to go, I actually think I actually have a more conservative opinion on this than Candace Owens does, because Harry Styles should be able to do whatever he wants to do. I don't care. As long as it doesn't affect me, or he's not telling me how to live my life, he's not telling me I have to wear a dress, I am perfectly fine with him doing whatever the flip he wants. And I actually think in this case, that is the more conservative opinion, because, we're all a balance of masculine and feminine. And, some men, are present more feminine, frankly, and some women, like me, tend to present more masculine. And that's the way it is. And that's not to say I'm any less of a woman, or men who present more femininely or any less than a man. It's just like there's a balance to these things, and I just don't understand what the big deal is.
Well, I think too, what's interesting is they say that transgender men who are women, it's all testosterone energy. So it's almost like, well, what's what? Do you know what I mean? So but I think what's really interesting is Candace, who is pregnant right now. I mean, this is just a huge joke waiting to happen. So what happens? She has a child who wants to cross-dress. I mean, that's going to happen. That, like, when you want to have, like, a child who is, the star of the football team, he's going to take ballet, or you want a child who's going to be in ballet class and she's going to be on the football field. Like, that is just life. So it'll be really interesting. What is she going to do if her kid decides, you know what, I want to paint my nails, or you know what, I want to create my own norms? What is she going to do? Beat the shit out of them until, they conform to her preferences? I mean, it's just an accident waiting to happen. It's pretty dumb saying stuff like that when you have a child on the way, because to see.
Or even worse yet, making the kid do things that she wants them to do for the sake of, like, maintaining her brand, and having the child like that to me is like the worst possible outcome of this, because then she's just forcing she's forcing the child to do things that, might not be their natural inclination, which is really, that's the problem.
Yeah, and even if she doesn't say anything, the child will most likely pick up on it. I just think that again, I don't think, going to the other extreme, I don't think that, 7-year-olds should announce, I want to be a girl, 7-year-old boys, and then get a sex change, or I'll even
I
allow
agree with
the,
that.
I mean, I think it's ridiculous. I think that, there is a level of maturity that needs to take place before any decisions are being made. And I do think that, I think there's a lot of fluidity in terms of sexuality, in terms of gender, all of that stuff, in the sense that, children, they need to be loved, and they need to be guided, and they need to also be able to give them the opportunity to change their minds. I think a lot of parents, being so woke, they're, saying, oh yeah, my child, he's 10 years old, he's gay. What? What do you mean he's 10? Doesn't know how to tie his shoes at 10 years old. So I think that there's a lot of balance between the woke culture and then the ultra conservative craziness. You know what I mean? There's a balance to be had.
Yeah. Well, this person says, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that at all. It said he, being Harry Styles, was paid to do it. No bravery or heroism there. That was her context. I mean, dude, I hate to break this to you, but Candace Owens makes a lot of money from her brand. She makes a lot of money selling books and doing her shows and doing so she gets paid to do all this stuff too. And I'm going to be just really, really honest and say that there are more people that I've encountered in this whole journey that are high profile influencers that make decisions based purely on their brand and purely to make money and purely to make connections than I have encountered authentic people. Now, don't get me wrong. There are absolutely authentic people doing this. I believe Brandon Strzok, absolutely 100% authentic. Dave Rubin, in my opinion, 100% authentic. Glenn Beck, 100% authentic in my opinion, right? But I have encountered a whole lot of people who only make decisions based on their brand. So if you don't think that people that you probably know and probably watch and probably respect are tweeting things and writing things for the sheer sake of making money and continuing to facilitate their success, I'm sorry, that's just not true.
Right. And Harry Styles has way more money than Candace Owens, and he doesn't need Vogue's money. So if something, I think that he obviously probably would do something that is on brand. He's not going to destroy his brand for a few bucks. He's a multimillionaire. I think Harry Styles just expresses himself, and I think that we all should be able to express ourselves however we want. And I think that it's awesome. So I just hope that people can become a little bit more open and loving of themselves, so they are more open and loving of other people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, sadly, we have run out of time for this week. We're actually a little bit over time. So Joshua, thanks for hanging in just a few more minutes. If people want to get in touch with you to have a psychic reading, where can they find you?
PsychicSun.com. I think the link is in the description there. That's my website. And I'm on YouTube too. I have a show every week called Organize Your Ass Astrology. It's a very irreverent, funny show that helps you to organize your week based upon the astrological forecast. And I do other videos, so you might like my channel. Please like my videos and subscribe, and obviously hit me up for a reading if you're interested in a reading.
Yeah, and we actually did an interview not too long ago that is on your channel. You also interviewed Mikey Harlow not too long ago. So guys, go subscribe to Joshua, get his psychic updates. I can't emphasize enough that he is pretty much the person that's responsible for what I'm doing now, because occasionally I listen to him and he usually ends up being right. Now, I just want to point this out because this actually made me laugh while you were saying that. Is this guy brainwashing Carlin? I mean, maybe. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. All right. All right, guys. Well, if you enjoyed this show, we will be back here next week, same time, same place, for probably a Thanksgiving special edition, Joshua. That'll be a fun show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we'll see you then. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I hope you hit that subscribe button on the way out the door, and give us a thumbs up too if you enjoyed our show tonight. We'll be back next week. See you guys soon.